going to be recorded. Okay, so now we have that the recording is in progress. Let me just spotlight for everyone. Okay, so I have a blurred background behind me, so I might not be the high res. I saw the comment from Clark in here, but mute. Did you mute me? I think you muted me. There we go. Okay. So the screen will be clear when I show it. My camera may not be the best, and I have it kind of blurred out because downstairs where my office usually is cold. We didn't turn the heat on because we don't want to heat up the whole house. And I'm in what I've blurred is a bedroom that is very messy behind me. So I'm cleaning. So I'm cleaning by using blurring instead of actually cleaning. Okay. So we're going to cover Google Docs tonight. Last Monday, we covered Google Drive, which was a repository to get to all of the different files that you can use in the Google Suite, in which we kind of focused on sharing and collaborating and the different techniques. If you have any specific questions that you want answered in the course of this evening, go ahead and put them in the chat. And if you don't know where the chat is, it's at the bottom of the Zoom screen. It looks like a little cartoon speech bubble. And you can type what your question is. I will answer all questions, even if it means I have to stay a little bit later. That's fine. I will answer your questions and make sure that you get everything that you need out of this course or this evening's session on Google Docs. Okay, so go ahead and put that in there. And I will, at the end, since that's a Zoom thing, I see the question here about how to blur the background. At the end, if you stick around, I will show you on Zoom how you can blur your background. You have to have a little bit newer computer to do it, but it is very helpful when you don't feel like dusting like me right now. So, okay, so let's start off with going over to my screen, and we're going to revisit what we did last week by going to Google Drive to open a Google Doc. And then I'm going to show you my preferred way of doing it. But let's get in here now. Okay, so we are going to go to drive.google.com. And again, you need to have either a Gmail account, or this is something that your school provides, or if it's something that your business provides because they're using Google, you go to drive.google.com. You'll be logged in, and I can tell that because my avatar is here, my name, when I hover over it. And what we're going to do right now is we're just going to go ahead and create a new Google Doc. Now, Google Doc is Google's answer to Microsoft Word. It is something that you use to word process, write letters, do any kind of word processing. And I'm going to hit this new button over here to the left. I'm going to click that. And then in this list, I'm going to go down to Google Docs. And once I click on that, it's going to open a brand new blank doc for me. Now, the nice thing about Google Docs is they don't charge you to use their Google Suite. So sometimes when you get a new computer, you kind of feel compelled to buy the Microsoft Office because you need Microsoft Word. You don't need to when you just go onto a web browser and you have a Google account. You can just go there and you can create a document. And you'll see it looks a lot like the toolbar that they've had for word processors for like the last 20, 30 years. You have the justifications, the alignments, the paragraph spacing. So a lot of this is very familiar. If anyone has any specific questions, like how do you do bullet points or do italics, put it in the chat and I will cover it. But for tonight, I'm not going to cover too much of these tools that are, I would say, somewhat familiar. What I'm going to cover are the interesting things that you can do with Google Docs. So to start off, I'm just going to start typing. Hi, everyone. This is my doc. and horrible hunt and peck typing. Okay. I see I have a document. Over here, it says save to the drive. When you use Google Doc, like we discussed last week, you don't have to save it every time. It automatically saves and will put it on your Google Drive. And as I'm typing, what I want you to do is look over here at this cloud and you'll could see that it is saving as I type. And when it's completely saved, it changes to a checkbox. If you have a slow internet connection, don't close your document until you see that checkbox. Because sometimes here in Columbia County and Rojan, we have slow internet connections. So wait until you see this checkbox in the cloud to make sure when you close your document, it returns. So here, where it says untitled document, if I click there, this is where I can name my document. Now I just clicked once and it automatically filled in the first two sentences of my document instead of calling it document. But I'm going to call this the Rojan doc. Okay. And when I click away, it's now saved. And if I go ahead and close this document, I'm going to just move this toolbar out of my way. If I close the tab, close the document, in my Google Drive, I will see that I have a new document. And it will be the Rojan test. Let's see, it's alphabetical, copy, 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 copy. And here is, get down to the R's. Nope. Rojan doc. So here's the document we just created, and it is found in my Google Drive. Okay, now I'm going to grab a different document here, just so we have something with a little more text on it, so we have more to play with. And this is an essay that we have here. I'm just going to check the chat here for a moment because it looks like there's a couple of questions. Sarah says, okay, Janet asks if we also do spreadsheets like Excel. Yes, Google Suite does have something called Sheets. We can do a different class on that. And it does open when you open an Excel document. It is going to open in your Google Drive, but it's not opening as a Google Doc. It's opening as a Google Sheet. And we can do another class on Google Sheets at some point. An outliner app that works like Google Drive, like Omni Outliner. Yeah, there's OneDrive that works like it, Dropbox, Box. There's quite a few cloud-based storage that works the same way. But Google Drive does allow it to be free to a point. And they don't have to be ordered in alpha. You can switch it that it's the most recent. You can change those things in there. Okay. So here, we're going to go back to our Google Drive, our Google Doc here. This is an essay that I wrote. And one thing that you can see here is that there are items here that are highlighted in red. And those are items that you can click and change grammatically, like it's suggesting I should have a comma there. It's suggesting that I have an extra space here. So you can use, by hovering over these red items, you can edit things. If you go to Tools on your toolbar, and I'm going to go up here, we have the File, Edit, View, Insert, Tools. This is where you find some of the interesting things that are kind of addition to the normal items you find in a word processing. So if I go to Tools, I can go down, excuse me, to word count. So if I wanted to know how many words were in my document, I could click that. And it could tell me how many pages, words, characters, and I can just take that and turn it, look at it and close it again. Or I can check off this box and hit OK. And now my word count will stay over here in a little window that I can check at any time. So you can see how many words, paragraphs that you have there. So you can toggle that on and off. Also under tools, they have the option of citations. So if you are referring to anything in your document, you can go over here, pick your citation type. So I'm going to say APA. You can add a citation source, a book. We'll say that we're going to reference a film. You can say we accessed on a website, and you can fill in these items here and it will pre-format your citation for you at the end of the document. So you can build your references if anyone is doing scholarly work or is writing a book or just wants to create quick references, or if you're helping a student. This is a very handy tool here that you can use. And again, that's under tools and under citations. Under explore here, this tool here searches for topics that are in the item that you wrote. So here I have the International Society for Technology and Education, which is ITSE. And you can click on that and it gives me more information on that. So if I'm writing and I'm drawing a blank, or I want to do some more research, or I want to find a website or a page, you can have a little bookmark size window here that you can refer to as you write. Or if I wanted to add an image in regards to ITSE, I can click images. And here it gives me some logos, some pictures. And just by clicking the plus sign, wherever my cursor is on the document, it will add that for me. So instead of going back and forth and trying to download images and then copying images or searching for images, this little item here makes it very easy. And you can also go to your drive. And if you want to refer back to a document that you've already written or a letter you've already written, you can click and pull it up in a quick window as well. So you can see. It actually didn't open a quick window, but it allows you to open it up without going to drive into the different areas. Explore also lets you type your own search terms. So if I wanted to find, say, a computer, and I wanted an image of a computer to add to my document, these look pretty good. I could go to my area here, select the item, select where I want my cursor to be, go over, find a picture of a computer I like, click the plus sign, and it added into my document. Now, as you can see, these images are rather large. If you want to alter the size of an image that you've put into your document, you can click on the image once, and you get these tennis balls on the sides here. And when I hover over them, you'll see that my cursor turns into a double arrow. If I go to a corner, click and hold my mouse and drag, it'll allow me to resize my image. So I can place things so that they look nice, as opposed to taking over my entire document. Okay. So you can see how this has been changed. All right. So if I wanted to now close this area here, I can hit close. And I can change it. Now I'm going to look at the chat in a moment. Looks like there's a question. Now the question is, are those images you're picking in an image library on your drive or just grabbed from somewhere else? It's a great question. It's coming from a web search that's happening in that narrow column there. So what's happening is in that side column, and I'm going to go back to tools and show how it was here, tools. And I'm going to go to explore. And if I search here and explore, this is what's bringing up my items. Computer. and I can go to images, and this brings up the images that are available. By default, it gives you, there's another good question about copyright issues. By default, it gives you the items that are listed as Creative Commons images that you can reuse. It does not give you the copyrighted images, but that being said, that doesn't mean that a creator hasn't mislabeled one of their images. So if you're doing something that's just like a letter or something that's a small item, don't worry about it. But if you're going to make a flyer or something that's going to be published in a magazine or a newspaper, do your due diligence and just double check that those images that you're using are truly free to use and you don't have any copyright infringement. So just double check it. I mean, not everything is labeled correctly. So if it's going to be something that you're either going to sell or, make sure that it has the correct, but by default, it does have items that are labeled as being free to use. Okay, very good question. And I'm going to close this one here. Okay, so another item that they have in the tools section here, again, this is one of my favorite things, is they have a dictionary. So to the dictionary, if I highlight a word, say if I was interested in the word emergency and what it meant, I can highlight it, right click on it, and I can say, please define emergency. And if I click on that, over here, it will give me the definition of emergency. And then it'll also give me some synonyms. So say if I wanted to change to predicament or accident or disaster, say if you've used the word emergency way too many times and you don't feel like reaching for a thesaurus, you can use this to find different choices. Okay. And I'm going to check the chat here a second because I see there's a question. Okay. Why are there two icons, one blue one and one green one? Okay, so we'll go here. So now that I'm going to just click away here a second because you see they disappeared. They show up when you highlight a word. So now if I go to this blue item here, I can add a comment. So if I'm sharing this document with someone, or if I just want to put a comment off to the side saying, find new word used too many times, I can add a comment on the side. This here gives me some suggested edits. So I can tell someone who I'm collaborating with that I suggest that you edit this. So I'm not going through and writing specifically, you've used this word too many times. I'm just saying, please, I suggest you edit. And this can be helpful if you're a writing instructor, if you're someone who's helping someone with resumes and you want them to be self-sufficient and you want them to go through it, you can ask them to please check. Okay. And then here, once I say emergency, I'll say, oh, okay, I can change this to calamity. That's a great word. Calamity. And then I can check this off and say I've resolved it. And I can get rid of the emergency part of this calamity. Okay. And change it off. I'll delete that. Okay. Make it calamity. Turn that off. There we go. Okay. And then here, you can view or print the final document from there as well. All right, we have one more chat. Now, the next question is a good one from Susan. How do you insert from your own photo library? So in order to insert a picture from your own photo library, first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your cursor where you want this image to appear. So I'm going to say I want it here in front of as of December 2020. And I'm going to be inserting a picture. And if I go across the toolbar here, I'll see the insert is one of the choices. I'll click insert. And then it gives me the option of image. And here I can search Drive, I can search my photos, and I can upload from my computer. So if I click upload from a computer, it brings up this document here. Let me see if I have a picture here I can use. There's a picture of my dog. Let's use that. She's very cute. So once I've brought this up, I can highlight the picture I want to use. I can hit open. And then very shortly, we should have a picture of Cookie, my dog, showing up in this document. Now the Cookie's picture is a little big, so it's going to take a bit. And there's Cookie. And like before, if I thought Cookie was a little too large, I can click on that image, find the tennis ball, turn my cursor into a double arrow, click, drag, and this will resize Cookie so that she is more of appropriate size. Now you'll notice underneath Cookie, there's a series of little thumbnails and pictures. And this tells you how you want the words to wrap around your picture. So if I were to pick this next one here, Cookie would look more like a magazine. The image, see how the image gets nice and wrapped, and I have her words over here to the side. I could decide that I want her to be behind the text, or she could be in front of the text, put her to the side. I tend to like this one here. So now I have Cookie like this. And if I decided I don't want this, all this blank space, I want Cookie a little higher, you can click. I have the tennis balls, and now I'm holding my mouse down. I can drag, and I can put Cookie a little higher on the page. And I let her go, and she's over here. Maybe I want to make her a little higher so she's not in the seam of the pictures there. We got Cookie here. If I decided now I don't need the computer, I can click the computer once. And by hitting the delete key on my keyboard, I can get rid of this document. Or I can right click and select delete to remove it. Oh, I think it's saying it's suggested edit. Let me switch it to editing. Excuse me. Delete. There we go. Okay. So here now we have Cookie wrapped in a picture, and I'll do the same thing with Itsy. I'm going to wrap this one, and now Itsy is also wrapped around here. Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment and see the question. Could I make a whole page of 4 of Cookie's photos? I could do that. Joanne, are you using a PC or a Mac? You're using a Mac, right? I think you have a MacBook Air. You can just type it in the chat. Right. Okay. So the easiest way to make a page of all the same photo would be to do it a different way using your photo editor. But I'm going to show you how to do it in Word as well. And if you want to stick around after class, I can show you how to do it using the photo editor. So if I wanted Cookie a bunch of times, I'm going to click her cute little face here. She's got the tennis balls around her, shows that she is selected. If I right click on Cookie, I get the option to copy her. And copy is also Control C. If I copy her, I'm going to scroll down to a new page. Let's drop down here a little bit. And if I do Control on my keyboard, V for paste, and the V kind of looks like you're pointing down, like you're pasting something down on a page. Paste, I have a picture of Cookie. Let me scroll down a little bit here. Window's a little bit in the way. Let's bring Cookie down to the next page. So here's Cookie. And then if I wanted Cookie again, I'd repeat that action. You can see my cursor is kind of above near Cookie. I can do Control V. And I have another Cookie. I can do Control V again. Here's one more Cookie. And if I hit the Enter key, I'm on another row. So you kind of get a whole bunch of cookies. Almost looks like a Warhol now. So there's all my cookies, and I'm going to delete her and take her out one by one. So again, I'm highlighting her. hitting the delete key and removing cookie out of here. Okay. So another option that you have. Okay, let me see. Sue Griffin has a good question. If you wanted to print this document, you need to link the photos into the document or create a folder with images and text. Very good question. Once you put an image inside a Google Doc, it becomes part of that document. So you don't need to have a separate folder with the images. You don't need to have a separate place where it's being uploaded. They become embedded and part of this document. So if I were to close this document, it will be right back with those images in it, even if I'm in a different computer visiting my document. Okay, so we have those items there. Now, something that I use a lot because I do have a lot of Spanish-speaking families that I work with. They do also have under tools, you have the option to translate your document. So if I click translate document under tools and select it, it has the name of the document title because it's going to make a copy. It says now I have a translated copy of the ITSE essay, and I can choose my language. And I am going to pick, let's pick French. So I'm going to say I want this to be in French. And when I select translate, a copy of my document will be created. Here's my original document. A new document looking exactly like the one that we just created is now available in French. And it's called translated copy of ITSE essay. When I go to my Google Drive and I look for documents, I will find a document called translated copy of ITSE essay. And it will be in fairly good French. Same with any of the language translation it does. It's pretty good. It's not perfect. If you are fluent or you do a lot of document translation, you can use this and then just go through and edit and clean it up and make it better. But it will be, I'd say 80% to 90% legible to someone receiving it on the other end without tweaking it. Okay, so I'm going to close this here. Now I'm going to stop sharing a second so I can see everybody and see how we're doing. Okay. And there we have a few more questions. Okay, so another part of Sue's chat message was, how do you print? How do you now print this document? So we're going to go in and I'm going to show you how to print this document. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So if I wanted to print my document, there's two places you can go. Over here, there's a little icon that looks like a printer. You can use that. It'll give you a preview. And then I have a LaserJet available. So I can print my document from here. So that's how you can print. And you can see the ITSE and the dog is right there. Under more settings, I can also change a few things. I have it set to be in black and white, which is why Cookie's showing up in black and white. I don't have a color printer here. But if you have a color printer, the preview will show in color. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit print. And this should trigger my printer downstairs. There we go. Okay, and there's a couple more questions here in the chat. BJ asked if I could show the translation step again. I'd happily do that. I'll do that in a second. And how can you attach the document to a Gmail letter? An excellent question, Lynn. We're going to cover both of those right now. So let me just do first a quick review of how to use the translation. So I have my original ITSE essay document up. I'm going to go to Tools. Under Tools, I'm going to ask it to translate the document. It gives it the new document title of translated copy. So I'm going to just change its name to Spanish. And my caps lock is on. Spanish copy of ITSE essay. And this time around, instead of French, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to pick Spanish. Once I hit translate, a new tab opens because a new document is being created for me. And now I have a document called the Spanish copy of ITSE essay. So here it is in Spanish. And my pictures are still loading. Resources are a little low, but they'll get there. And now, when I go back to my original Google Drive and it loads, you'll see that now I have my original ITSE essay, which is alphabetical. Here's ITSE essay. But I also have a new document created called Spanish copy of ITSE essay. Whoop, jumped. There you go, Spanish copy. And here's translated copy. So here's my Spanish version of my document. And here's the French version. And if I double click on it, you'll see this is the Spanish version. Okay. Okay. So next, this is a question I have from Clark. What if you wanted to abort everything and go back to the original document? Very good question. So on any Google Doc you have, there is a button here that says the last edit was 1 minute ago. Sometimes it'll say 2 minutes ago if I leave this open. See, like right now, it just switched to 2 minutes ago. If I click on that link, it brings up a version history. Now, this document's only been edited once, but it has a list of all of your changes from the time you open your doc and closed your doc. So it'll show that. I'm going to go to my original ITSE editor, ITSE document, because I know that that one was touched many, many times because I had to edit it. Let's go to ITSE essay. Here it is, the cookie in it. Oh, here's the last edit. It was 8 minutes ago. That's the last time I saved the document. If I click on the version history, you can see that there are several versions. So I have one here from the 28th. And I'm like, I don't like what I did to this one. Just I didn't want cookie in there. I didn't want the ITSE logo. It was just demonstrating. I want to bring this back to my original copy. I select that one. It shows me a preview of it. I can then go to this blue button and restore this version. And it will now make this the latest and greatest that shows up when you double click in Google Drive. It also keeps the previous version here that we did today with the dog. So I can revert back yet again if I wanted to. So you can switch your versions there. Okay, so that is a way you can do that. Now, when we first went into Google Drive, we came here in order to go to new, in order to go to Google Docs and create a new document. There is a way that you can get templates. So if you need to create a resume, a flyer, an invitation, and you want something that's already got some of the bones and the formatting there for you, there is a way to do that. And this is kind of a secret kind of backdoor way to get there. They don't make it available in Google Drive. Where you go on this one is I'm going to go up to the web address and I'm going to select docs.google.com. Oh, there's a D there. Let me switch that. So it's docs.google.com. I'm not using a www. When I hit enter, you'll see that we're out of Google Drive. And now we are in a world where only my Google Docs exist. There's no PDFs, there's no extra stuff. It's very much just the docs. And along here on the top, we have some samples of a template gallery. So if you have project proposals, brochures, items that you want to create, here they have just a few to select. right off the bat, the most popular ones. But if you go up here to template gallery, you can get it even deeper and get more ideas. So if you didn't like the first resume, there's other resume options. There's letter options with letterhead. So if you need to create letterhead, you can do that. Recipe cards. So they have a whole bunch of templates already created for you. Freelancing agreements, education, essays, everything that you could possibly want under the sun. And I'm going to pick, let's pick this resume here. As an example, I'm going to say, please let me create this document in a template. And then it gives you everything here formatted. It's got these Lorem Ipsum Dolor Latin placeholders here, but you can just go ahead and type over them and it will have a beautifully formatted document ready for you. So it keeps the formatting. I can change it to my name. So all you have to do, oops, sorry, my fingers, I'm not the best typist. So you can use any of those templates to create a beautifully formatted document. And I'm just going to check the chat because I can see there's a question here. Now, Tony has a question. If you have a Word document, is there a way to bring it into Google Drive as a Google Doc? Yes, there is. And I will show you that. And what you can do, see, I think I have a Google Doc available here, is I'm going to just close this out a second and go back to Google Drive. So in Google Drive, you can go over to New and go to File Upload. Once you click on that, you can then find a Google Doc. And I don't know if I have any on my computer because I do almost everything cloud-based. I don't download many things, but I'll use this wallet as an example. Select it, open, and then that will upload the document to Google Docs. Let's see, it should be up here under wallet. Once it's uploaded, and it will show up in your list. Oh, my wallet isn't here yet, but that's how you would open it. Let me go here again. Try it. Yep. File upload. See if I have an actual Google Doc or a Word doc. Maybe in here. Nope. So anyway, that would upload the document to this. So that makes sense. I'm sorry I don't have an example to really show you. Okay, do that again? Sure. So in order to upload a Word document, you're going to go over to New, and then under New, you're going to pick File Upload, and then navigate in your computer to your Word document. Select it, and then select Open. And that will upload the file for you. Okay, and that's how you can find it. If you happen to be in the other side, remember I showed you where we can get our templates, docs.google.com, and you're working from here, and you're like, I need my document, the one that's on my computer. You can go over to this hamburger here, and you can get your docs there. Or another option in Google Drive, if you don't want to use the upload button, I'm going to select this over. Set it right. Start document. Google Drive. Drive. Drive.google.com. Here we go. Is you have the ability to drag and drop files into Google Drive as well. So you can bring things in that way as well. Get a wallet. There we go. Documents. I can click and drag and drop them onto my page as well. This other way. And let's go into the chat. Yes, my document was called wallet text. That's correct. You can create, and Clark has a question, you can edit or create PDF files as well. You can to some point. If you are in your document, and I'm going to go back into our resume here, and I wanted to make this into a PDF, you can do that by going to File, and then you can go to Print here, go down. And it's looks the same. Looks like I'm trying to print to my LaserJet, but what I'm trying to do is print and make a PDF, which is a print document. I can click the down arrow here and I can save my document as a PDF, which some people like to do because it means when the receiver gets it, they really can't edit it. It kind of blocks it. With Google Docs, you can fill out PDFs that you receive, but you can't go ahead and change the text and edit the text. If someone sends you a PDF that you want to edit or change, you can do that in Google Docs. That's true, but it's not a full PDF editor. Okay, and if it's someone who asked that question, is, let me see, who was that? Okay, Clark, if just pop a note in the chat and just let me know if I answered your question or if you have more about that one, because that one is a little bit complex. And if it is a little bit more that you need to know, just stick around after class and we'll cover it. Okay. So last class, we talked about sharing documents, and also a question came up in the chat, how do I add it to a Gmail? The easiest way to add a document to your Gmail is if you go, and I'm going to go to my ITSE document again, because that's the one we've been playing with tonight. Here's the ITSE essay. And I have it open. If I wanted to include this in a Gmail or to anyone's email, I'm going to go over to the right-hand side here where it says share. And if I click on that, this is synced with your Gmail account. So I can send this to Beth. I'm going to send it to Beth. And I say, okay, that's the one I want. It kind of fills it out. I can add an additional one. I'm going to put my husband here as well. So you can see I'm sending this to different people. I can put my message. Hi, please edit my essay. Thank you. So this is the message that will come into the email. Here it is attached. And if I hit send, it will send this document in a Gmail to my two recipients. So my husband will get one and Beth will get one. And Beth's camera's off. I don't know if she's available, but if I stop sharing, Beth, mind showing your email and showing where how it shows up?
I'm here. Hold on 1 second.
You there?
1 second. All right.
Hi. I'm going to stop sharing
Hi.
so you can take over.
There's Pam's email to me. Top of
And I
my
got your
list.
message, Clark. Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Okay. So here's the email that she just got from me with the ISTE essay.
Yeah.
And you see she has the option to open it.
And I just did.
And now she's in. Now, when I sent her this document, I gave her editor access. So she's allowed to make changes to this document. You can see where I am in the document. I show up in pink there, and she can make changes, and we can collaborate on this document together, which we demonstrated as part of Google Drive the last class. So we can change, and you're welcome to change this. This is an old essay I don't use anymore. I don't need anymore. Okay, so Beth is saying I can add something here, and I'm going to go to my copy, and you'll see I'm gonna jump in right about here, and I'm gonna say, I am adding in this area. So you see how the two of us are working together in the same document. And if you look over to the top near where that blue share button is, you can see that there are two people involved in this collaboration. And it has me in red, Beth in pink. So you can see what two people are currently working on the document. And in that area where, and I'm going to take the screen back from you a second here, Beth, so I can point with my mouse and help demonstrate a few things here, but you can keep typing because it'll show up on my end.
I can, I don't
So here you can see
think I
the
can.
was made seconds ago by Beth Gordon or B. Gordon. And if I click the version history, this shows here the changes. So this is the current version. You can see Beth is in here. And it's showing me what Beth added is purple. And over here, this section here is what Beth has added. What I've added in this revision is shows up in green. And of course, you can revert if you need to the previous version using this. Or as an editor, you can just take out the purples if I don't like what Beth has done here. So this is where you can see the version history and the changes and who made them in your document. So if you're working on an article or board minutes, whatever, you can see each other's work that way. And I'm going to check the chat because there's a question here. Linda asks, does Beth have to open Google Drive to open and read your essay? And what if the recipient does not have Google? Two excellent questions. So Beth does not have to have her Google Drive open, but if she's not currently logged into her Gmail account, she will be prompted to log in with her Gmail account or her school account. And then once she does that, the document will automatically open directly to the document. It will not open it in Google Drive. It'll open it just on the document. And if the recipient does not use Google, they can see it as a viewer, but they will not be able to edit or make changes to the document unless they have a Gmail account, which is free, or if they sign up for their school account or if their business account. So they will still be able to view the document and download the document and maybe use their own Word application that they have on their desktop, but they won't be able to make changes on the screen. Very good question, Linda. Now, Janet, above that, asks, how do you define who can see the document? So let's go back to Google Drive, and then I'll also cover the folder question. So I'm going to go back to Google Drive, and I'm going to share a different document just so you can see. So here, this, I'm going to do Jimmy Stir schedule here. I'll open this. When I hit the share button, give me a moment here while it loads. By default, all documents are private. Hit that share button to let anybody in to see your documents. And once it comes up for the sharing, you'll see I'm going to use Beth again, but I won't send this one, Beth. Next to her name says editor, which means she's going to have the full rights to make changes. If I only want Beth to look at this and not make any changes, I hit that drop down and I can change her to a viewer. So that means she can only see the document, read the document, print the document, download the document, but she can't make changes to my version. Commenter means I give her access to write in the margins and give some ideas and some thoughts. So, but viewer is where you can switch that so she can only view and not be an editor. Okay. I'm going to close this here a second. So I'm back in my Google Drive, and I'm going to answer the question about creating a folder. So if I'm in Google Drive and I go over to new here, I can go down here, see where it says folder. Right after clicking new, my mouse is pretty much on there. Once I select folder, I can give it a new folder. This is an example folder. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard or the create here. And that has created, this is my example folder here. And I can take items and drag and drop them into my folder. And then when I go into this example folder, here's the item that I just created. And if I were to hit new right now to create a new document, it's automatically going to be saved in this folder that I created. So that's how you can create a new folder. Okay, I'm just going to go here to another question. If you have a folder that you no longer need, and I'm going to say I don't need my example folder anymore. If I scroll to my example folder and I want to get rid of it, I'm going to right click or alt click if you're using a mouse on it. And it gives me options that I can do with this folder. So they got my Zoom windows in the way here. And one of them will be, hang on a second, I have a scrolling issue here. Remove here at the bottom. So when I select remove, it gets rid of the folder. Now, if that was an accident and you're like, oh my gosh, I just deleted my folder, I need it. Over on the right here, they have a trash recycle bin. You can go in there and you can get your folder back. So by clicking on that once, and then right clicking, you can select restore, bring your folder back if you needed it. And you can restore your folders there. Okay, very good question. Recently added is if you have a special font or a different font that you'd like to use, when you highlight here, you'll see here Merriweather is the font style that we're using. You can hit this drop down here to get a different font. I'm going to make it something scripty, Pacifico here. And if you are someone who's a graphic designer and you have a special font that you want to use, you can add fonts to here as well. And you would have a special file that you can add to here. And they give you a couple extras here that are not normally in there. You can add to these, or you can upload a font if you're given one as a graphic designer to this area here, if you have a special font that you use for your company or your brand. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing here a second. They don't have templates for creating collages in Google Docs. You can easily create them by placing them on there. I would recommend using something different to do that. Maybe even Google Slides to place the pictures because it ends up formatting beautifully. But they don't have a special template for making a photo collage. The next question, add-ons here. These are items that you can use to add into Google Docs. They're like third-party items. So if I select, get add-ons, you'll see once I open it, these are different third-party items that you can add to your Google. So it allows it easy side loading or moving into it. So like a rubric creator, if you have teacher rubrics, student rubrics. So going through here, you may find something that mail merges, Avery labels. So these are additional ways that you can create items here. So I'm going to pick just Avery labels because that's kind of a popular thing to do. Someone wants to make a bunch of mailing labels. It prompts me here when I hit install. It prompts me again. I hit continue. And then it'll prompt me again to sign in with my account. Avery label merge comes here. I'm going to say allow. And now it installs this third-party add-on, which would help me with creating Avery labels. So if I go to add-ons now, Avery label merge is now here. and I can hit start, and it'll put me through a wizard to create my my labels. And so I can say how many labels on the sheet. I can say, you know, how to do this here. And some of these plugins are paid. They're not free. So like this one, you can do 30 labels for free, and then you have a couple merges left. So I'm not going to go into each and every add-on, but if you go through here and look and you see something that you're interested in, that's the steps in order to add an add-on to your Google Docs. If you're in a corporate environment or a school environment, you may find that there are items already in your add-ons that have been added by your IT department or your administrators that they expect you to use, like maybe a rubric creator or something for creating reports. So that's what an add-on will do. So it adds like another little extra function for a third-party app. Okay. And then here, it says, and BJ also asked, can you set up your own margins and format? Yeah, to set up the margins, they make it fairly easy here. At the top of the page, we have a ruler. And if you don't see the ruler, go to View and make sure that Show Ruler is checked off. On your ruler, when I hover over the different margin areas here, you'll see that my cursor will turn into a double arrow, and you can click and drag almost like you did with the old typewriters. And you can adjust your margins that way and pull them in and out, your indents. So it's almost identical to the way the old Selectrix used to be. And if I wanted to do a huge section, I could highlight and drag as well. So you can change your margins and your indexing using those things here. You can also go to Edit, let's use a Format here, and you can adjust your margins and your line spacings here and check your indexing. So you can adjust your margins in that area. Tabs can be set same way using the tools here. So if I go onto my ruler, and I right click on it, you can see I can add a left tab stop, a center tab stop, a right tab stop. So I can add tabs here, and you can see there's a little blue mark in here now. So if I wanted to add another tab, I can right click again. I can add a center tab stop. So you can add your tabs here within the ruler. Okay, and there's there. Last week's was not recorded because we didn't have permission, Marie, to record. I wanted to make sure that everyone was on board. And last week, Zoom didn't have the option of just recording the instructor. But I will have to host this on my computer as well. So it'll take it won't be like immediately after our meeting of getting together, but it will be like maybe 2 days afterwards that you'll get the link. It takes a little while to process the video. Okay. Now here, Sue asks, is there a way to select certain pages if you only want to print or send just 2 or 3 of a multi-page document? You can do that. This is only a 1-page document, so let me pick something that has multiple pages. I'm going to pick, let me see, it's the essay standards. I think this one is multiple pages. Okay, let me see, hopefully, yes, this is multiple pages. So if I wanted to print only certain pages, I would go to File. I would go to Print. Let me get this out of the way. Print. And here, underneath my printer, I have pages and default is all. If I click the down arrow, I can say odd pages only, even pages only, or custom. And I can say only print 2 through 3. And by doing that, now my preview only shows 2 and 3 of my pages. And if I were to hit print right now, it would print only those 2 pages for me.